call me, the text message said. 4 minutes later, call me now. Eight or 9 minutes after that, why haven't you called me? 15 question marks. And about 10 minutes after that, where are you? Call me now. Those text messages came yesterday while I was at Taekwondo with my children from someone that I have never met or spoken to. And once I was done with Taekwondo, I reached out and said, hello, this is Justin Paperny. I received a series of text messages from you. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. What's going on? And he was rude. He said, you're making my job harder. You are making my job harder. I'm tired. I've been doing this 30 years. You're making my job harder. I said, what job is that? And then he told me he was a criminal defense attorney and we are working with the same person as this person prepares for a sentencing hearing around the middle of November. And he said I was making his job harder because this person in our community submitted a comprehensive plan or asset around volunteer work he had done with Prison Professors Charitable Corporation. That was very clear. He created an asset. It's influencing people on the inside. He got a letter from the nonprofit attesting to the value, offering him a job opportunity upon his release from prison. And we suggested in this letter to the lawyer that he ask for a shorter sentence with community service hours, in part because this person's going in front of a judge who has referenced this work before and actually given shorter sentence with community service hours. So it sort of makes sense you use what works. So when he's saying you're making my job harder, it's because he just doesn't want to submit it. He doesn't want to do it. Essentially, he has a sentencing memorandum it's like 90% already written, a lot of boilerplate stuff, and to rewrite it or insert new content that's unique and specific to this defendant makes his job harder. So I said, I filmed a Loom video for you about 5 weeks ago that I was asked to send to you, that you said you would watch, that gives you a better understanding of how to use this asset. Indeed, I also gave you the transcript with specific examples of how other lawyers have used this content or copy to build it into I ain't got time. I'm not watching any video. So you didn't watch the 3-minute video, but you were able to send me 7 text messages or so over a 30-minute window on a Saturday while I'm at Taekwondo with my children because you have a sentencing date approaching, the memorandum is due, and you're angry at me because our team was retained like you to help our guy get the shortest possible prison sentence. I said, how about this? Here's the good news. We only have to speak one more time, and I'm sorry that I'm making your job harder with a hint of cynicism or skepticism in there, but how about we do this? I'm going to be home in about 2 hours. How about we Zoom together? And I'm going to record the Zoom and I'm going to walk you through specifically how to use this asset. I will then resend you the transcripts so you have an understanding of how to use this asset properly, because let's not forget why you became a criminal defense attorney 30 years ago, and let's not forget when I went to prison 16 years ago, the regret that so many people have in prison. Good men scared to go home, regretting how they prepared for sentencing, regretted that they hired a lawyer who seems to not care about creative mitigation strategies to get them the shortest possible prison sentence. You sound like that lawyer right now, I told him directly. Would you like to undo that? Because this guy's got kids, and after sentencing, you will never connect with him again. But our team will, because we get the calls from prison. We get the calls from the spouse. What will he do next? He can no longer do this. Plus, he owes $4.5 million to Medicare. I said, fine, I'm happy to do that. We did. The lawyer's going to get the asset in. Good. 3 things I want to cover in this video. If you want to get a longer federal prison sentence, you have got to embrace the reality that people are going to be against you or not going to do their job. So you will get a longer sentence if you do not do what this person in our community did. Had the lawyer call me directly. It was an uncomfortable call, but at the end of the day, we are on the same page because we are both retained to get this person the best possible outcome. If you're not willing to embrace some of that discomfort, hold your lawyer accountable, use the assets that we create, you're going to get a longer federal prison sentence. Number 2, this person, when he reached out to our community, bought into this kind of idea, and this is a second way to get a longer federal prison sentence, act as if victims are not really victims, especially when it's the United States government. It's like there's no perceptible victim, there's no grandmother here living on the corner, homeless because of me, and the government wastes more taxpayer resources than anyone. So there's not really a victim, and when you talk about them, it's kind of a throwaway. It's kind of like on the periphery. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm going to make payments, but however. That is the second way to get a longer federal prison sentences. And I continue to see it with tax cases. I even see it with some PPP cases. And I've been to 50 of those sentencings across the country where it's like, yeah, okay, I bilked the government for $50, $100, $150,000, exploited a pandemic when I thought the government was putting me out of business. I'm in the state of California. They shut it down. It's not fair. Gavin Newsom ate in a restaurant, but no one else can go into a restaurant and do business. Is that fair? I understand the rationalization, and I'm not doubting that in the 5.5 minutes I've been on this video so far, the government has wasted more resources than any of us will ever make in our lifetime collectively. I get it. It doesn't change that in the 1,500 sentencing hearings I've been to, judges like Judge Holcomb, Judge Carter, Judge Selna, Judge Wilson, Judge G, so many others have said, I view bilking the government, bilking Medicare, in many ways is worse than an individual that you might exploit because there are loopholes in the government, the bureaucracy that you can exploit and take advantage of, and it really wastes taxpayer resources. So the second way, before I get into the third and wrap up this video, the second way you can get a longer federal prison sentence is to not fully identify with victims, to not fully embrace that even if it is a taxpayer, someone you will never meet, they are a victim. And if the government, if a judge is not convinced that you identify with them and have some realistic plan over a period of time to make them whole, you are going to get a longer federal prison sentence. And number three, you don't influence people who are going to decide how long you should go to prison. I'm writing a new book. It's free after the fall. The first chapter will be out today on our Substack newsletter. Today's Sunday. I'll post this tomorrow on Monday. So it's on Substack. It's on the White Collar Advice website. Under newsletters, you'll see chapter 1. And in that chapter, I discuss a conversation I had with my friend Sam Pompeo. He's a very close friend. He's a real estate agent who hired me when I got fired. And the first chapter, I go through conversations that I had with Sam during his first visit with me in prison. And I open up the chapter by jokingly saying, I've decided to stay in prison longer. I'm turning on the halfway house. I'm making such progress here. I want to use this time productively. And he's like, dude, are you crazy, bud? Let's get home and let's get back to selling real estate. And in that chapter, I addressed the regret that so many people have, including going to a sentencing hearing thinking a nice allocution statement, something that's eloquent, even if it's honest, is going to compel a really cynical judge to give you a shorter sentence. And in my sentencing, Judge Wilson said, you turn the other way for money, I'm going to make an example out of you and send you to prison. I would argue, most of the men in prison would argue, the sentence would have been better and you'd have lived with more dignity along the way if you'd been building a sustained record over time that somehow shows you are different than the government's version of events. If not, the DOJ is going to do your branding and marketing with unlimited resources, our tax dollar. So the third way to get a longer sentence is embrace this idea that you have time. I can wait to prepare for a sentencing hearing, which means you're not preparing for a probation interview, knowing that a probation officer is going to write a report suggesting how long you should serve in prison. I'm not going to do my part to influence a lawyer who can influence a plea agreement. That's why so many of you call me and say, hey, I watched that video you filmed 8 years ago called Is My Lawyer an Order Taker for the United States government? He doesn't do anything to negotiate properly. What's happening here? Have you influenced your lawyer who would influence the prosecutor to get a better plea? Have you influenced the probation officer to write a better report? Are you building an asset today that can influence a judge at a sentencing hearing? Because I am convinced the less you say at a sentencing hearing, the better, because you will have this extensive body of work that you can rely on. The earlier, the better. So these are three ways to get a longer federal prison sentence. One, you cower in front of a lawyer. You don't use the assets that you create. That will lead to a longer sentence. This is your life. This is your health, your future, your money, your reputation, your freedom. This is really significant. What is your philosophy as you endure this process? If your highest value is freedom and family, it's going to require you to take some tough decisions. Number two, you talk about the victims, but they're really the throwaway. You do not fully identify with them. And three, you do not embrace this persuasion or the idea that you, through your own daily incremental efforts, can influence really cynical stakeholders. The earlier you can begin to do that, the better. And on the inside, from prison a very long time ago, I'd walk the track with very good men who had nothing but regret over how poorly they prepared, in part because they engaged in these three mistakes I just shared with you, all leading to longer sentences. Thank you for watching this video. Wishing you all well. Look forward to returning again soon. If you found value, please like, subscribe, and comment. Time to watch my little boy play baseball.